The alarm bells rang loud across the training center as medics carried another dead cadet from room 7. Instructor Vextari stood behind the thick glass window and watched them load the body onto a floating bed. The blue-skinned Zenthari warrior had been one of their strongest students. Now he was just another name on the death list. Dr. Thulnak walked up to stand next to Vextari. His green scales caught the light as he held up a glowing data screen. "That makes number 47, he said in his deep voice. 47 dead in 1 year. All from the hardest training tests." Vextari felt angry. His long arms moved in frustration. The tests work like they should. They push every species until they break. Some break faster than others. "That is not what worries me," Thulnak said. He moved his clawed finger across the screen. "Look at this list. Every single death. What do you see?" Vextari took the screen and looked at the records. His 4 eyes moved from name to name. He saw cadets from 12 different alien races. He saw how each one died. "I see normal training results. What should I notice?" "Look at who lived." Vextari changed the screen to show survivors. What he saw made his blue blood run cold. The same name appeared in every single deadly test, every impossible situation, every training that killed others. One name appeared again and again. "Lee Hanna," he said quietly. "Lee Hanna," Thulnak agreed. "Human female, 19 years old. She was in every single one of these killer tests. And she walks out alive every single time." Through the glass, they watched robots clean room 7. The metal floor was covered in purple blood. Soon another group would go in. Numbers said some would not come out alive. "Where is she now?" Vextari asked, getting ready for the death run. Both aliens said nothing for a long moment. The death run was the worst test they had. Students had to escape from a fake prison while fighting through waves of enemy soldiers. Only 2 beings had ever finished it alive in 3 years. Both needed months in the hospital after. "Sir," called a young worker from the control desk. "The death run is starting. The students are going in now." Vextari and Thulnak moved to the big viewing screen. 4 shapes walked into the empty metal room that would become their battlefield. 3 were huge Carillion fighters. Each stood over 7 feet tall with thick natural armor and sharp claws. The 4th was a small human girl who barely reached their shoulders. Lee Hanna checked her gear one last time. She wore basic academy fighting clothes and carried a simple energy rifle with 2 power packs. Her black hair was tied back in a ponytail. Her face showed no fear, just focus. Next to the giant aliens, she looked like a small child with a toy gun. Starting test in 3, 2, 1. Begin. The room changed completely. Walls rose up to make hallways and rooms. The lights got dim like emergency power. Fake enemies appeared all through the building. The job was simple. Fight from the bottom floor to the top. Stay alive. The Carillions took control right away. They moved like a pack of hunters and put Hanna in the middle to protect her. This made sense. Carillions were born to fight. Their people had been at war for thousands of years. The first enemy attack came fast. Fake prison guards with big guns and riot gear. The Carillions charged forward with roars that made the walls shake. Their claws cut through armor like paper. Their strength threw enemies across the room. For a moment, it looked like they might be the first team to beat the death run. But the test was made to get harder. As they went deeper into the building, the enemies got smarter and better armed. The Carillions started getting hurt. Even their thick skin could not stop everything. When they reached the 3rd floor, one warrior was badly hurt. His left arm hung broken and useless. Green blood ran from many cuts. The other 2 were tired from helping him and fighting non-stop. "We must leave him behind," one Carillion said, looking at his hurt friend. "He makes us slow." "No," Hanna said, softly. These were the first words she had spoken since the test started. "We all get out together." The Carillion leader showed his teeth in anger. "You know nothing about war, human. The weak must die so the strong can live." Hanna did not argue with him. She just moved to help the hurt warrior. She put his arm over her shoulder and took his weight. Even though she was half his size, she found a way to help him walk. The other Carillions looked at each other but said nothing. The fourth floor was a trap filled with death. Robot guns shot from the walls. Bombs exploded under their feet. Enemies with military weapons attacked from every direction. The test threw everything at them. The healthy Carillions died first, too many bullets hitting them at once. Their big bodies fell to the floor with loud crashes. Now only Hana and the hurt alien were left. Logic said they should both die here. The math was easy. One small human girl and one broken warrior against 100 enemies. Every computer said they had no chance. But Hana kept going. She pulled the Carillion through small side paths. She hid behind broken pieces of wall. When her rifle stopped working, she took guns from dead enemies. When those broke too, she used anything she could find. She turned repair tools into weapons. She used the building itself to hide behind. The hurt Carillion watched in shock as this tiny human refused to quit. Blood ran from many cuts on her body. Her armor was cracked and smoking. She breathed hard and fast, but she never stopped fighting. "Why?" he asked as she dragged him toward the exit. "Why do you not leave me to die?" Hana looked at him with tired eyes, but her voice was strong. "Because that is not what humans do." They reached the top as the test timer hit the maximum time. Both were alive. Both could still think and talk. The medical team ran in to help with their wounds, but neither one was dying. Up in the watching room, Vextari and Thulnak stared at the numbers on their screens. Other teachers had come to see what everyone said could never happen. A successful death run with almost no deaths. How is this possible? Someone asked quietly. Vextari watched the recording of the test again and again. He saw every choice Hana made. She had done things that broke every rule of fighting he knew. She chose to help others instead of helping herself. She took the hard path every time. All the computers said she should be dead, but she was alive. "Call a meeting of all department heads," Thulnak said. "We need to talk about the human situation." As the watching room emptied, one question remained in everyone's mind. How long could one small human keep beating impossible odds before luck ran out? The answer, they would learn soon, was much longer than any of them could imagine. Dr. Kim Jisoo looked at the medical scanner results for the third time. She could not believe what she was seeing. Lee Hana sat on the examination table, swinging her legs like a child waiting for candy. 2 days ago, this human girl had survived the death run. Now she looked perfectly healthy. "Your heart rate is normal," Dr. Kim said, checking her notes. "Your muscle density is average for humans. Your bone strength is typical. Your blood shows no special chemicals or drugs." She set down her scanner and stared at Hana. "There is nothing special about your body." Hana smiled. "Is that bad news? Or good news?" "I do not know yet," Dr. Kim admitted. She was the Academy's best alien biology expert. She had studied hundreds of different species. Each one had something that made them good fighters. Carillions had thick armor skin. Zenthari had super-fast reflexes. Valkyrie could see in complete darkness, but humans seemed ordinary in every way. "Can I go now?" Hana asked. "My friend Park Minho is waiting for me in the cafeteria." Dr. Kim nodded slowly. As Hana jumped down from the table and walked toward the door, the doctor called out, "Wait, can I ask you something?" Hana turned around. "Sure." "During the death run, when the Carillion told you to leave the wounded warrior, what were you thinking?" Hana looked confused by the question. "I was thinking we needed to get him out safely. But you knew staying with him meant you might die too." "Yes." "So why did you do it?" Hana thought for a moment. "Because leaving him felt wrong. Humans do not abandon each other." She shrugged like this was the most obvious thing in the world. "Why would I leave him to die alone?" After Hana left, Dr. Kim sat in her office thinking. She pulled up files on human behavior from their home planet Earth. What she read made her more confused. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the fastest. They were not the smartest. but they had taken over their entire planet and were now spreading to the stars. The door chimed and Commander Thulnak entered. His green scales looked darker than usual, which meant he was worried. "What did you find?" he asked. "Nothing, Doctor," Kim said. "And that is what scares me." Meanwhile, in the academy cafeteria, Hana sat with her friend Park Minho. He was also human, but much different from her. Where Hana was small and quick, Minho was tall and thin. Where she seemed confident, he looked nervous all the time. "I failed the basic combat test again," Minho said sadly. He poked at his food without eating. "The instructor says I think too much before acting." "What do you mean?" Hana asked. "When the training dummy attacked me, I tried to calculate the best response. I thought about angles and force and probability of success. While I was thinking, it knocked me down." Hana laughed, but not in a mean way. "Minho, you cannot think your way through everything. Sometimes you just have to act." "But what if I make the wrong choice?" "Then you make another choice. And another. You keep going until you find something that works." A group of alien cadets at the next table had been listening. One of them, a large Zenthari named Veltar, turned around to face them. "Human girl," Veltar said in his deep voice. "Is it true you survived the death run?" "Yes," Hana said simply. "How?" "My people trained for decades to develop combat skills. You are just a child." Hana set down her fork. "I am 19 years old. That is not a child." "To us, you are a baby," another alien said. This one was a Carillion female named Dexani. "Our warriors do not reach full strength until they are 30. How can someone so young and weak beat our best fighters?" "I did not beat them," Hana said. "We were on the same team, but they died and you lived." Hana was quiet for a moment. "They died because they tried to fight everything head-on. Sometimes the best way to win is not to fight at all." "That makes no sense," Veltar said. "Combat is about strength and speed and skill." "No," Hana said, standing up from her table. "Combat is about staying alive. Everything else is just details." The aliens watched as Hana and Minho left the cafeteria. They talked quietly among themselves in their own languages. That afternoon, Dr. Kim met with the Academy's senior staff. The meeting room was full of different alien species, all trying to understand the human problem. "I have tested Lee Hana completely," Dr. Kim reported. "She is a normal human in every way I can measure. Her strength is average, her speed is average. Her intelligence is above average but not exceptional." "Then how does she keep surviving?" asked Instructor Vextari. "I think it is psychological," Dr. Kim said. "Humans seem to have a different relationship with the concept of defeat. When other species face impossible odds, they either fight harder or give up. Humans do something else." "What?" "They change the rules." Commander Thulnak leaned forward. "Explain." Dr. Kim activated a holographic display showing footage from the death run. "Watch this moment when the Carillions suggest leaving their wounded teammate. Every other species would either agree to save themselves or refuse and die trying to fight through. Hana does neither. She finds a third option." The display showed Hana dragging the wounded alien through maintenance tunnels and service, passages that other species had ignored. "She does not see the test as pass or fail," Dr. Kim continued. "She sees it as a problem to solve. When one solution does not work, she tries another. When that fails, she tries something else. She never stops looking for alternatives." "This explains one human," said Veltori, the Academy's tactical instructor. "But we have other human cadets. They do not all show this same ability." "No," Dr. Kim agreed, "but they all show the same basic pattern. They refuse to accept that any situation is truly hopeless. Even when they fail, they keep trying different approaches." The room fell silent as everyone thought about this. "I want to test this theory," Commander Thulnak said finally. "Dr. Kim, I am authorizing you to design a new scenario, something that has never been attempted before." "What kind of scenario?" "One that is designed specifically to break a human." 3 days later, the Academy announced a new training exercise called the Void Walker. The description was simple. Survive alone on a dead planet for 30 standard days with minimal supplies. The planet would be hostile. The weather would be deadly. The native life forms would be aggressive. Every species that had attempted similar tests in the past had failed. The longest survival time on record was 72 hours. When the announcement was posted, Lihanna was the first to sign up. You sure about this? Minho asked her as they walked to their next class. 30 days alone sounds terrible. It sounds like a challenge, Hana said with a smile. Besides, what is the worst that could happen? You could die. Hana stopped walking and looked at her friend seriously. Minho, everyone dies eventually. The question is not whether you will die. The question is what you will do with the time you have. As they entered their classroom, neither of them noticed Dr. Kim watching from down the hallway. She was taking notes on a data pad, studying human behavior patterns. The test would begin in 1 week. For the first time since arriving at the academy, Dr. Kim felt nervous about what they might discover. Some doors once opened could never be closed again, and they were about to open a very big door indeed. The transport ship dropped Lihanna on the surface of the dead planet at exactly noon. She stood alone on red dirt under a gray sky, watching the ship disappear into the clouds. In her hands, she held a basic survival pack with 3 days of food, a water purifier, and a simple shelter kit. Around her stretched endless rocky wasteland. The air smelled like metal and dust. Strange howls echoed from distant mountains. According to the mission briefing, this planet had killed everything that lived on it millions of years ago. Now only the most dangerous creatures remained. Day 1, Hana said to the small camera on her chest. The Academy would watch everything she did. The gravity feels about the same as Earth. The air is thin but breathable. Temperature is dropping fast. She looked around at the barren landscape. Most species would pick the highest ground and try to build a fortress to defend. But Hana had learned something important from watching animals on Earth. The key to survival was not to fight the environment. The key was to become part of it. She started walking toward a cluster of rocks that might provide shelter. As she walked, she paid attention to everything: the direction of the wind, the color of the soil, the patterns in the rock formations. Each detail told her something about this world. In the Academy observation room, Dr. Kim watched the monitors with Commander Thulnak and other senior staff. Multiple screens showed different views of Hana moving across the planet's surface. 15. Previous expeditions, Commander Thulnak said, reading from his notes. All failed within 72 hours. The longest survivor was a Valkyrie warrior who lasted 3 days before the environment killed him. What makes this planet so deadly? Asked Instructor Vextari. Temperature drops to freezing at night, Dr. Kim explained. The local predators hunt in packs. The soil is toxic to most species, and there are frequent electrical storms that can kill anything caught in the open. On the screen, they watched Hana examine a strange plant growing between 2 rocks. Instead of avoiding it, she carefully touched one leaf with a stick, then waited to see what happened. What is she doing? Vextari asked. Learning, Dr. Kim said quietly. By the end of day 1, Hana had built a small shelter in a cave between 2 large boulders. She had found water seeping from a crack in the rock and tested it with her purifier. She had also discovered that some of the local plants were not poisonous when cooked properly. Day 2, she reported to her camera. The howling I heard yesterday comes from pack hunters about the size of earth wolves. They are afraid of fire, so I am keeping a flame burning at the cave entrance. She held up several plant roots she had dug up. These taste terrible raw, but they become almost sweet when roasted. The trick is cooking them long enough to break down the toxins. In the observation room, alien instructors watched in amazement as this small human adapted to conditions that had killed much larger and stronger beings. She is treating it like a camping trip, Vextari said in disbelief. No, Dr. Kim corrected. She is treating it like home. Days passed. Hana's daily reports became more detailed as she learned about her new environment. She discovered which caves had the best airflow. She found plants that could be woven into rope. She learned to predict the electrical storms by watching cloud patterns. On day 7, she encountered her first pack of predators. The creatures looked like a cross between wolves and lizards, with 6 legs and teeth like broken glass. There were 5 of them, and they surrounded her cave while she was collecting water. Most beings would panic. They would either fight desperately or try to run. Both approaches usually ended in death. Hannah did something different. She sat down cross-legged in front of her cave and waited. The creatures circled her, growling and showing their teeth. But she did not move. She did not show fear. She just watched them with calm eyes. After an hour, the pack leader approached slowly. Hannah very carefully took a piece of cooked meat from her pack and placed it on the ground between them. Then she moved back to her sitting position. The creature sniffed the meat for a long time before eating it. Then it looked at her with what might have been curiosity instead of hunger. Day 7, Hannah reported later. Made contact with local wildlife. They are not mindless killers. They are just hungry and territorial. Like any predator, they prefer easy prey to dangerous fights. By day 15, she had established a routine that seemed impossible to the Academy observers. She had mapped the safe water sources in a 5-mile radius. She had identified dozens of edible plants. She had even begun training one of the pack creatures to help her hunt smaller prey. "How is this possible?" Commander Thulnak asked during a staff meeting. "Our best survival expert said 30 days was impossible for any species." "Because they were thinking like warriors," Dr. Kim said. "They assumed this was a battle to be won." Hannah does not see it as a battle. She sees it as adaptation. On day 20, a massive electrical storm hit the planet. Lightning struck the ground every few seconds. The wind howled at over 100 miles per hour. Rain fell like bullets from the sky. The Academy staff expected this to be the end. No shelter could survive such a storm. But when the cameras came back online after 6 hours, they found Hannah sitting calmly in a deep cave, sharing warmth with 3 of the pack creatures who had taken shelter with her. "Day 20, she said to her camera. "The storm was beautiful but dangerous. My new friends and I waited it out together. I think they have decided I am part of their territory now." "Doctor?" Kim stared at the screen in amazement. "She has domesticated them." "That is impossible," Vextari said. "Those creatures have never shown social behavior toward other species." "They have never met a human before," Dr. Kim replied. On day 25, something unexpected happened. Hannah's daily report was different from usual. "Day 25, she said, but her voice sounded strange. "I have been thinking about the Academy, about my friends, about the lessons we are supposed to learn here." She looked directly into the camera with serious eyes. "I know you are watching me. I know this is a test to see how long humans can survive. But I think you are asking the wrong question." She stood up and walked to the cave entrance where 3 pack creatures were sleeping in the afternoon sun. "You want to know how long I can survive alone on this planet. But I am not alone anymore. I have learned to live here. This place is not my enemy. It is my home now." She turned back to face the camera. "The real question is not how long I can survive. The real question is whether I want to leave." In the observation room, complete silence fell over the alien staff. They had designed this test to break her. Instead, she had made it into something else entirely. "Day 30, Hannah said 5 days later. "This is supposed to be the end of the test. The transport ship should come to pick me up today." She was sitting outside her cave with a pack creature curled up next to her like a pet dog. Around them, the hostile wasteland had been transformed into something that looked almost like a garden. She had cleared paths between safe areas. She had marked water sources with stone cairns. She had even started growing some of the edible plants in organized patches. "I could stay here," she said quietly. "I have everything I need to live. Food, water, shelter, even friends." The sound of engines filled the air as the transport ship appeared through the clouds. "But my real friends are back at the Academy, and there are still things I want to learn." She stood up and shouldered her pack. The pack creature whined softly, not wanting her to leave. "I will miss this place," she said, scratching behind the creature's ears. "But humans are not meant to live alone. We are social creatures. We need each other." As the transport ship landed, Dr. Kim realized something important. They had not broken Lihana with this test. Instead, she had shown them something about humanity that they had never understood before. Humans did not just survive in impossible conditions. They thrived. They adapted. They turned enemies into friends and wastelands into homes. And that, Dr. Kim thought as she watched Hana board the transport ship, might be the most dangerous ability in the galaxy. 3 weeks after Lihana returned from the dead planet, Commander Thulnak made an announcement that shocked the entire academy. All future combat training would include mixed species teams. No more single race groups. Every mission would combine different aliens with humans. "This is madness," complained Instructor Vextari during the morning staff meeting. "Species have different strengths and weaknesses. Mixing them together will only create confusion." "That is exactly what I hope to study," Dr. Kim said. She had been promoted to head of behavioral research after her reports on human psychology. "I want to see what happens when humans work with other species under extreme pressure." The first mixed team included Lihana, another human cadet named An, Sohi, 2 Carillion warriors, and a Zenthari scout. Their mission was called the Broken Bridge, a scenario where they had to cross a dangerous canyon while being attacked by enemies from both sides. Previous teams had a 30% survival rate. Most succeeded by sacrificing the weakest members to save the strongest. It was brutal but logical. An Sohi was very different from Hana. Where Hana was calm and thoughtful, Sohi was energetic and talkative. She had bright eyes and quick hands, and she smiled even when things looked hopeless. "I read about your planet survival test," she told Hana as they prepared their equipment. 30 days alone sounds terrifying." "It was not that bad," Hana replied. "The hardest part was having no one to talk to." The Carillion warriors, Thexmor and Velkani, looked at the 2 human females with doubt. Both aliens stood over 7 feet tall and had thick armor plating covering their bodies. Next to them, the humans looked like children. "How are we supposed to protect you?" Thexmor asked bluntly. "You are too small and weak to keep up with us." "Maybe you do not need to protect us," Sohi said cheerfully. "Maybe we can all protect each other." The Zenthari scout Dexlar said nothing. His people were known for being fast and silent. They preferred to work alone and trusted no one outside their own species. "Beginning mission in 3 minutes," announced the computer voice. "Objective: cross the canyon and reach the extraction point. Time limit: 2 hours." The room transformed into a narrow canyon with steep walls on both sides. A broken rope bridge stretched across a deep gorge. Below, sharp rocks waited to kill anyone who fell. Above, enemy snipers began taking positions. The Carillions immediately took charge, as always. "Thexmor and I will charge across the bridge first," Velkani announced. "Our armor can absorb the sniper fire. The others follow when we clear the path." "Wait," Hana said. "What if there is a better way?" "There is no better way," Thexmor growled. "This is combat. The strong lead and the weak follow." But Sohi was already moving along the canyon wall, her small hands finding cracks and ledges that the larger aliens had missed. "The rock here is soft," she called back. "I can climb down to where the bridge is attached." Dexlar watched her, with interest. His people were natural climbers, but even he had not noticed the handhold she was using. "If she can reach the bridge supports," he said slowly, "she might be able to repair the broken sections. While you 2 do that," Hana said to the Carillions, "you can provide covering fire from here. Your weapons have longer range than the sniper rifles." Velkani looked confused. "But if we stay here, how do we get across?" "We all get across together," Hana said. "Or none of us do." In the observation room, Dr. Kim watched with fascination as the team dynamics completely changed. Instead of the usual pattern of strong leaders and weak followers, the humans had created something new. Everyone had a role based on their abilities, not their species rank. So he reached the bridge supports and began working on the broken ropes. Her small fingers could tie knots that the larger aliens could never manage. Dexler used his speed to run supplies down to her while avoiding enemy fire. The Carillions provided heavy weapons support, their natural armor making them perfect for standing in the open and drawing sniper attention. And Hana coordinated everything, watching for problems and adjusting the plan as needed. "This is impossible," Vextari muttered as he watched the screens. "They should be dead by now." "Look at the casualty reports," Dr. Kim said, pointing to her datapad. "0 injuries so far. The humans are not just surviving, they are making everyone else more effective." The team finished repairing the bridge and began crossing together. When enemy reinforcements appeared on the far side, they did not panic. So he used explosives to create a rock slide that blocked one enemy position. Dexler scouted alternate routes. The Carillions provided covering fire, and Hana kept everyone moving toward the objective. They reached the extraction point with 20 minutes to spare. All 5 team members were alive and conscious. No serious injuries. Mission complete. "How?" Thexmore asked as they waited for pickup. "By all tactical analysis, we should have failed." "Because you were thinking like separate species," Hana explained. "Humans learned long ago that groups are stronger than individuals, but only if everyone contributes their best abilities. Your species is very strange," Velkani said, but she sounded thoughtful instead of dismissive. "We are social pack hunters," so he added with a grin. "We evolved to work together. Fighting as a team is not just a tactic for us, it is who we are." Word of the successful mission spread quickly through the academy. Soon alien cadets were requesting to train with humans, not because humans were the strongest or fastest, but because teams with humans had higher survival rates. Dr. Kim found herself flooded with requests for data on human team behavior. Military leaders from across the galaxy wanted to understand how this small, weak species could make everyone around them more effective. "It is not about individual ability," she explained during a presentation to the Galactic Military Council. "Humans have a psychological trait that appears to be unique. They refuse to abandon team members even in hopeless situations." She activated a holographic display showing mission statistics. "Look at these numbers. In scenarios with mixed teams including humans, overall survival rates increase by 40%. Mission success rates increase by 60%. And most importantly, team cohesion remains strong even under extreme stress." General Morthak, a massive Carillion military leader, leaned forward. "You are saying that humans make other species fight better?" "No," Dr. Kim corrected. "I am saying that humans make other species want to fight better. There is a difference." She showed footage from recent training missions. Teams with humans showed different behavior patterns. They took more risks to help wounded teammates. They shared resources more equally. They communicated more effectively under pressure. When other species see humans refusing to give up on them, they start refusing to give up on each other, Dr. Kim continued. "It creates a feedback loop of mutual support that makes the entire team stronger." After the presentation, Dr. Kim returned to her office to find a message waiting for her. It was from Admiral Kexthos of the Zenthari Deep Space Fleet. "Dr. Kim," the message read, "I have reviewed your reports on human team dynamics. My fleet is interested in recruiting human tactical advisors, not as soldiers, but as team coordinators. What would be the cost for 100 human graduates?" Dr. Kim stared at the message for a long time. Similar requests had been coming in from military forces across the galaxy. Everyone wanted humans on their teams, not for their individual abilities, but for what they did to group performance. She thought about Lihana and An Sohi and the other human cadets. They had come to the academy to learn how to fight. Instead, they were teaching the galaxy something much more valuable. They were teaching aliens how to work together. But as Dr. Kim looked at the growing stack of recruitment offers, she began to worry. What would happen when every military force in the galaxy wanted humans? What would happen when this small species became the most valuable strategic resource in known space? Some questions, she realized, might be better left unanswered, at least for now. Commander Thulnak stood in his office looking out at the Academy training grounds. Below, mixed teams of aliens and humans practiced combat exercises together. The sight still amazed him. 6 months ago, most species barely tolerated each other. Now they fought side by side like packmates, but tonight would be different. Tonight he would finally discover the true limits of human morality. Dr. Kim entered his office carrying a datapad filled with psychological profiles. "The last stand scenario is ready," she reported. "Are you certain about this test?" "We must." "No," Thulnak replied. "Every species has a breaking point where survival instincts override moral behavior. Humans claim they never abandon teammates, but they have never faced true impossible choices. The last stand was the most brutal scenario the Academy had ever designed. It placed teams in a situation where saving civilians meant certain death for the rescuers. Previous tests had shown that all species eventually chose self-preservation when faced with mathematical certainty of failure. "I still think this is dangerous," Dr. Kim warned. "If we break human morale, we might destroy what makes them valuable to other species. If their morale can be broken by one test, then it was never as strong as we believed," Thulnak said firmly. "Begin the briefing." 1 hour later, Lee Hana and Nam Kiwan stood in the briefing room with 3 alien teammates. Nam was a human tactical specialist, tall and quiet with sharp eyes that missed nothing. He had arrived at the Academy 3 months ago and quickly earned respect from alien instructors for his strategic thinking. The team also included Veltara, a Karelian heavy weapons expert, Silti, a Zenthari scout, and Morgan, a Valkyrie engineer. All had worked with humans before and trusted their leadership. "Your mission is extraction," explained Instructor Vextari as holographic images filled the room. "A research station on the planet below has been attacked by hostile forces. Most personnel have been evacuated, but 50 civilians are trapped in the lower levels. The images showed a burning building surrounded by enemy soldiers. Escape routes were marked in red, all blocked or destroyed. Intelligence reports indicate overwhelming enemy forces," Vextari continued. "Approximately 500 hostile troops with heavy weapons and air support. Your team will have light equipment and no backup." Nam studied the tactical display with professional interest. "What is our extraction method? One transport ship will wait at the evacuation point for exactly 30 minutes. If you are not there when time expires, the ship leaves without you. This is non-negotiable." Hana raised her hand. "Can the transport ship wait longer?" "No." "Enemy. Reinforcements will arrive within 35 minutes. Any ship remaining after that deadline will be destroyed." The room fell silent as team members absorbed this information. The math was simple and brutal. 30 minutes to rescue 50 civilians from a heavily fortified building, then reach an evacuation point 2 miles away. Even with no resistance, it would be nearly impossible. "Questions?" Vextari asked. "Just one," Nam said calmly. "Do we have permission to abort the mission if civilian rescue becomes impossible?" "That decision is left to team leadership." In the observation room, Commander Thulnak watched the team prepare their equipment. "Now we will see what humans truly value," he said to Dr. Kim. "Personal survival or abstract moral principles?" "I think you underestimate them," Dr. Kim replied. "We shall see." The mission began at dawn. The team dropped from orbit in a small assault craft and landed outside the research station. Immediately, enemy fire erupted from all directions. The building was completely surrounded. "Assessment," Hana called to Nam as they took cover behind crashed vehicles. Nam used electronic binoculars to scan the enemy positions. 800 hostiles minimum, heavy weapons emplacements on all sides, air patrols every 15 minutes. The building has been turned into a fortress. Veltara checked her weapons. "We cannot fight through that many enemies. It is suicide." "The civilians are in basement level 3, Silthi reported after studying building schematics. "Multiple access points, but all are heavily guarded." Morgan looked at the tactical display and shook his head. "Even if we reach the civilians, extracting 50 people under heavy fire is impossible. We would need at least 2 hours just to move them to safety." "But we only have 30 minutes before our ride leaves," Nam said quietly. The team looked at each other in silence. The choice was clear. They could attempt to reach the evacuation point themselves and survive, or they could try to save the civilians and die in the attempt. Mathematics said there was no third option. "What are your orders?" Veltara asked Hana. In the observation room, alien instructors leaned forward to watch the crucial moment. Every psychological model predicted the same outcome. Faced with certain death, even humans would choose survival. Hana looked at her teammates for a long moment. Then she smiled. "Orders are simple," she said. "We get those people out." "That is suicide," Morgan protested. "Maybe," Hana agreed. "But leaving 50 innocent people to die is not an option I can live with." Nam nodded slowly. "I agree. Better to die trying than live with abandoning them." To everyone's amazement, the alien team members did not argue. Veltara hefted her heavy weapons. "If we are going to die, let us make it count." "I know several ways into the building," Silthy added. "The odds are terrible, but not zero." "I can modify the building's power systems to create diversions," Morgan said. Dr. Kim watched in fascination as the team began planning what was essentially a suicide mission. "They are not just accepting the impossible choice," she said to Commander Thulnak. "They are inspiring others to accept it too." The assault began with coordinated explosions across the building's perimeter. Morgan had overloaded the power grid to create confusion. While enemy forces responded to the diversions, the team infiltrated through maintenance tunnels. They fought their way down to basement level 3 through overwhelming resistance. Veltara's heavy weapons cleared corridors while Silthy scouted ahead. Nam coordinated movement while Hana kept the team focused on their goal. They found the civilians huddled in a reinforced bunker. 50 terrified researchers and support, staff who had given up hope of rescue. "We are here to get you out," Hana announced as the team secured the area. "It is impossible," one scientist said. "The building is surrounded. You will all die trying to save us." "That is our problem, not yours," Nam replied calmly. "Right now your job is to stay close and follow our lead." The extraction was chaos. Moving 50 civilians through hostile territory while fighting overwhelming enemy forces should have been impossible. But the team made it work through pure determination and tactical brilliance. They used smoke grenades and diversions to mask movement. They fought delaying actions to buy time for civilian evacuation. When weapons ran out, they improvised with environmental hazards and building systems. 25 minutes after the mission began, they reached the evacuation point. The transport ship was waiting as promised. Enemy reinforcements were visible on the horizon. "Everyone aboard," Hana shouted as civilians ran for the ship. But not everyone made it. Enemy fire had wounded several team members and civilians. As the ship prepared to depart, 5 people were still too far away to reach safety. The transport pilot's voice crackled over the radio. 30 minutes, I have to leave now." Nam looked at the approaching enemy forces, then at the wounded people struggling toward the ship. "Go," he called to Hana. "Get the others out of here." "Not without you. Someone has to cover their withdrawal. Go." In the observation room, Commander Thulnak watched in stunned silence as Hana jumped off the transport ship and ran back toward the wounded. She was followed immediately by Veltara, Silthy, and Morgan. "Impossible," he whispered. They had achieved partial success. They could have saved most of the civilians and themselves. Why throw it away? "Because," Dr. Kim said softly, "humans do not do partial success when it comes to saving lives." The team's last stand should have ended in total failure. Outnumbered and outgunned, they should have been overwhelmed within minutes. Instead, they fought with desperate creativity and absolute determination. They held defensive positions while civilians crawled toward the ship. They used destroyed vehicles as cover and turned debris into weapons. When ammunition ran out, they fought with tools and bare hands. Nam coordinated the defense while Hana dragged wounded civilians to safety one by one. Veltara provided covering fire until her weapons overheated. Silthy used his speed to distract enemies and draw fire away from the wounded. Morgan rigged explosives from ship components to create barriers against all odds. They bought enough time. He last wounded civilian reached the transport ship just as enemy reinforcements arrived. The team fought their way aboard while enemy fire filled the air around them. The ship lifted off with seconds to spare. Everyone was wounded. Equipment was destroyed. But every single civilian had been saved. As medical teams treated the injured, Commander Thulnak stood in stunned silence watching the mission replay. "They chose certain death to save strangers," he said finally, "and somehow survived through pure will." "Not just survived," Dr. Kim corrected. "They succeeded completely. Total mission success with 0 civilian casualties." "But how?" "The mathematics made success impossible." Dr. Kim smiled as she watched Hana being treated for her wounds. Despite everything, 6 months after the last stand incident, the Galactic Military Council gathered for the most important meeting in their history. Representatives from 47 different species filled the Great Assembly Hall on Station Kepler Prime. They had come to discuss one topic: humanity. Admiral Kexthos of the Zenthari stood at the center podium, his blue skin gleaming under the lights. "Fellow council members," he began, "we face an unprecedented situation. Our studies of human military psychology have revealed capabilities that challenge everything we thought we knew about warfare." General Morthak, the massive Carillion war leader, leaned forward in his seat. "Speak plainly, Admiral. What have you discovered?" "Humans do not fight like any species we have encountered," Kexthos replied. He activated a holographic display showing combat statistics. "In the past year, military units with human advisors have shown a 400% increase in mission success rates. More importantly, casualty rates among non-human personnel have dropped by 60%. Murmurs filled the assembly hall. These numbers seemed impossible. "How?" asked Chancellor Velmora of the Valkyrie Confederation. "Because humans refuse to accept casualties as acceptable losses," Kexthos explained. "They will risk everything to bring home every team member. This psychological trait spreads to other species who work with them." Commander Thulnak rose from his seat. "The Academy has conducted extensive testing. Humans consistently choose group survival over individual survival, even when mathematics proves such choices are irrational." "You speak of irrationality as if it were a strength," General Morthak rumbled. "Logic wins wars, not emotion." "Does it?" Thulnak challenged. "Our records show that the most successful military operations in galactic history were led by commanders who inspired loyalty rather than fear. Humans have weaponized loyalty itself." Dr. Kim activated another display showing psychological profiles. "Human military doctrine is based on a simple principle: everyone goes home, or no one does. This creates unit cohesion that we have never seen in other species." "What are you recommending?" asked the Zenthari admiral. "Formal recognition of humanity as a strategic military resource," Thulnak replied. "Not as soldiers or weapons, but as force multipliers. A single human advisor can make an entire battalion more effective." The debate continued for hours. Some council members worried about depending too heavily on one species. Others questioned whether human psychology could be trusted in large-scale conflicts. Finally, Elder Silmanthos of the ancient ethereal collective spoke. His species rarely participated in military discussions, preferring philosophy to warfare. "You debate humans as if they were tools to be used." His voice echoed through the hall. "But you miss the larger truth. They are not just changing how we fight. They are changing who we are." The hall fell silent. "Before humans arrived at our academies," Silmanthos continued, "we accepted that warfare required sacrifice of the weak for the strong. We believed casualties were inevitable. We assumed that survival meant abandoning those who could not keep up." He gestured toward the data displays still glowing in the center of the hall. "Humans have proven all of these assumptions wrong. They have shown us that true strength comes from protecting the vulnerable, not abandoning them. They have demonstrated that the best way to ensure your own survival is to ensure everyone's survival." General Morthak stood up, his armor clanking. Pretty words, Elder. But what does this mean for practical military policy? It means, said a new voice from the back of the hall, that you are thinking too small. Everyone turned to see Lihana walking down the center aisle. She wore the blue uniform of an academy graduate with instructor badges on her collar. Behind her walked Nam Kiwan and several other human graduates. Cadet Hana, Commander Thulnak, said in surprise. What are you doing here? Former cadet, Hana corrected with a smile. I graduated last week, and I am here because you invited me. She moved to the center podium with confidence. Despite being surrounded by beings twice her size, she showed no fear. You have spent months studying humans like we are some kind of scientific curiosity, she said, addressing the entire assembly. You want to understand what makes us different so you can use it for your own military advantage. Some council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. But you are still thinking like separate species competing for resources, Hana continued. Humans do not see it that way. We see potential allies, not tools to be used. What are you proposing? Admiral Kexthos asked. A new kind of military academy, Nam answered, stepping forward. Not just for training soldiers, but for teaching cooperation between species. Humans will share what we know about teamwork and loyalty. Other species can share their unique strengths. The goal is not to make everyone fight like humans, Hana added. The goal is to make everyone fight like allies. Elder Silmanthos nodded slowly. You speak of transformation rather than exploitation. Exactly, Hana said. Humans learned long ago that diversity makes groups stronger. A team with different abilities will always beat a team where everyone is the same. She activated her own holographic display, showing the mixed species teams from academy training. Look at these results. Carillions provide strength and courage. Xanthari offer speed and precision. Valkyri bring technical expertise. Humans contribute coordination and motivation. Together they are stronger than any single species could be alone. And if we refuse this cooperation? General Morthak asked. Hana looked at him with serious eyes. Then you will face enemies who have learned to work together while you remain divided. History shows what happens to divided forces against united ones. The assembly hall erupted in discussion as species representatives debated among themselves. The implications were staggering. Humanity was offering to share their greatest strategic advantage freely, in exchange for mutual cooperation. After an hour of debate, Admiral Kexthos called for order. The Council will vote. All in favor of establishing the Interspecies Military Cooperation Academy with human leadership? Hands, claws, tentacles, and other appendages rose throughout the hall. The vote was not unanimous, but it was decisive. Motion carried, Kexthos announced. Commander Hana, you are hereby appointed as the first director of Interspecies Military Training. Thank you, Hana said. But I will not be working alone. Humans always work in teams. She gestured to her fellow graduates. Nam Kiwan will handle tactical training. An Sohi will manage survival instruction. Park Minho will oversee technical education, and Dr. Kim will continue her research into interspecies psychology. When do you begin? Asked Commander Thulnak. We already have, Hana replied with a grin. The first class of mixed species cadets arrived at the new facility yesterday, volunteers from 20 different worlds, all eager to learn what makes humans so stubbornly impossible to kill. 1 year later, Lihana stood in the training yard of the new academy, watching the morning exercises. Teams of different species worked together on complex scenarios, each member contributing their unique abilities to the group effort. A young Carillion cadet helped a wounded Xanthari reach safety during a rescue simulation. A Valkyri engineer shared technical knowledge with a human apprentice. A Xanthari scout taught stealth techniques to a mixed species reconnaissance team. Remarkable, said Dr. Kim, joining Hana at the observation window. Casualty rates in the field have dropped to almost zero among graduates. Mission success rates are approaching 90%. More importantly, Hana said, they are making friends across species lines. That friendship will last long after they leave here. Through the window, they could see former Academy instructor Vextari working with a team of cadets. The alien, who had once doubted human capabilities, now taught courses on human tactical philosophy. "Do you think it will last?" Dr. Kim asked. "This cooperation between species?" Hana watched a group of mixed-species graduates preparing for their final exam. They moved together like members of the same family, each looking out for the others. "Humans have a saying," she replied. "We are stronger together than apart. Once you truly believe that, everything else follows." In the distance, a transport ship arrived carrying the newest class of cadets. More species had joined the program every month as word spread about its effectiveness. Former enemies now trained side by side, learning that their differences were strengths rather than weaknesses. "Today," Hana announced to her staff, "we welcome cadets from the hegemony worlds. Their first lesson will be the most important one. We teach." "Which is?" asked Nam. Hana smiled as she watched the new arrivals disembark. They looked nervous and uncertain like all new cadets, but that would change quickly. "That giving up is not an option," she said. "That we leave no one behind. That we are all stronger when we work together." She turned to face her instructors, humans and aliens working side by side. "And that sometimes the most important victory is not defeating your enemies. It is turning them into friends." The academy bell rang, signaling the start of another day of training. Another day of teaching the galaxy that cooperation was stronger than competition, that loyalty was more powerful than fear, and that the best way to win any fight was to make sure everyone survived it. As Hana walked toward the training grounds, she reflected on how much had changed since that first day in the death run. She had come